Alright, ladies and gents, before we get started, I'm just going to do this one live because why not? This guy's kind of funny. He's a Christian that goes by Pacific something or other. He's apparently just back on YouTube recently. A bunch of people were congratulating him on returning. He's in the middle of a feud with a couple of other YouTubers, and I just jumped right into this and decided to analyze it because I found the parallels within the first 7 minutes between him and the social justice movement in Islam. Now we found a trifecta. It looks like they're all about equal. They all want to censor free speech because it hurts their fifis.
Well, hi, everybody.
Hi, middle-aged man wearing a fucking gigantic steel chain necklace and clothing half his age. How are you? Big sigh there.
What is it? Grooving on a Sunday afternoon. It is 90 degrees and it is
Cue the climate denial.
September 27th. The pundits in the weather world of Denver, Metro, Colorado said we were going to have a cooler, wetter summer. Complete malarkey. The first part, yes. The rest, it has been 90s, 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 90s.
So they were
a few days of 80s. It is 90-something degrees right now. The end of September. And they're saying now we're going to have an El Nino winter with tons of snow down here. As usual, we will wait to see. I wanted to do a couple of things right now and say it is good to be rolling again. It is good because I watched Alex Hogan's video. Thank you for sending me your message.
See, this is what I'm talking about. He's in the middle of a feud that's kind of being fueled by his followers. It's kind of funny. This guy's got 3,500 subscribers. No shit.
Specific about Ling. I listen to you. You're intelligent. You're thoughtful.
I watched it. He's neither.
You laid it out very smart fashion. I wish I knew how to do what you did with the screen share and all that. That was awesome. Showing the notes,
stuff, you know.
Talking about you and your girlfriend and how you both had talked to Ling. And Ling, I'm going to say it didn't make you look good or credible. I don't want to attack you because I want you to know, Ling, I liked you as a person.
I'm waiting for about
I didn't agree with your pro-marijuana stance, but I liked you.
Of course not.
You were interesting. You did come after me. I didn't really pay attention to it because to me it was small potatoes. You didn't threaten me. You didn't do what...
That's another thing. He's got that classic Christian persecution complex that every troll that comes along and makes fun of him, he's like, this is because I'm a Christian and he's trying to silence me, trying to get me killed. Like, no, dude.
Legatist Loserus was doing. But we're going to talk about freedom of speech today. And Ling, I don't hate you.
Please, let's talk about freedom of speech here.
Made your peace with me. I accept your apology. But watching the video regarding you and Alex's involvement, I think that you did wrong there, but that's my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but
He goes on later to say something about this being his courtroom and he's the judge, so you know, just his opinion.
Side with Alex on that. I think he handled himself well. He is a quiet, soft-spoken man. I don't see a Jeffrey Dahmer type in him because...
I do. I looked at his videos. He's going to kill people. He's got a basement full of bodies already. Trust me, this dude's nuts.
Number one, Barbara wouldn't date a Jeffrey Dahmer. That's, I believe that the woman who's dating him would see that clearly there's something wrong. And she had comments directed at you as well. And I like the format of how you did that. Since Pacific has now spawned our own YouTube court of justice, I'm weighing in on the people's court and saying, Ling, you blew it on that. But I don't hate you, Ling.
No. Just judge you.
The fact that he archived some of my videos, some people think, oh, he archived your videos. He must be the one posting them on the ED page and under the Legatist Lanius channel. No, apparently archiving anyone's videos is not that hard. I just don't do that because I don't know how to do it.
Because you're mentally incapable.
And everybody's got computers with their limitations.
No, this isn't a computer's limitation. This is your cognitive limitation, sir.
What I want to talk about is freedom of speech, and I also want to bring into this arena today The Price is Wrong, a YouTube fan of mine, and I like the video he uploaded. And in the background, it's got a window with cars going by, and he posted a little placard that said, SpewTube. I thought that's awesome. He very much said that YouTube is basically no good. And
yet here you are on it. I mean, he posted his video on YouTube, and you're responding to the video on YouTube, but it's basically no good. Well, except when you use it, of course.
I will say it's good in the fact that Pacific can air his views, his dirty laundry, his musings and opinions, and his biblical understanding.
He's talking about himself. Pacific. That's him. He says Pacific can air his musings.
Of things, and that has been a blessing. What I don't like is when Google took over YouTube.
Evil Google.
Google's not actively and aggressively, nor corporately, with all the big shots with the college degrees and their big incomes, they're not doing anything about the trolls. Very disappointed with that. I would
What are they supposed to do? Just start banning accounts because people bother you?
expect some more professional prowess.
You have tools, sir. Block the accounts.
By something as big as Google. And it does, as the Price is Wrong declares, it does seem to encourage trolls and their protection. What I want to talk about now is when we talk about freedom of speech, there are some parameters and perimeters on just what we can say. From a Christian perspective, it says, let no unwholesome communication come from out of your mouth, but what is only what is edifying and right. Whatsoever things are true, pure, and noble, think on such things. The Bible.
Well, what
Bible says, do not use profanity, do not do unclean jokes. And have I done any of that? OMG. Yeah, lots. All of my viewers, I think we can honestly say that between you, me, and the fence post, and everybody else watching right now in YouTubeville, I think we all use language. I think we're so inundated, surrounded, it's in print and text. When I was a kid, that was censored a lot. You couldn't print it in the magazines as easily. TV shows, it was censored out. It was the rating scale with PG-13 now, rated R, rated XXX with all the strippy porno stuff.
We replaced that with NC-17.
But today, vulgarity is a part of life.
Vulgarity has always been a part.
It's wrong for the child of God. It's wrong for us to engage in that kind of discussion, but for crying out loud, I drove junior high and high school, and all you hear is WTF, what WTF, and OMFing. It's all around us. It says in John to, visit widows and orphans in their distress and keep oneself unspotted from the world. If we are honest,
that passage could be translated a lot of ways, especially when it's talking about the women. I mean, there are these spots that show up on your pee when just, those spots.
I have yet to meet anybody that has kept themselves unspotted from the world, especially
I'm unspotted in that particular manner.
In our Western nation's culture. Now, that is just my opinion.
That would be praise of the Eastern
exceptions to the rule.
Would that be the Middle East?
We're living in a time that in my 49 plus years of existence that we haven't seen to this level.
Really?
That we grew up in the 60s, there was a hippie movement and the smoking pot and burning the bras and don't shave your pits and the whole rock and roll and druggy culture and the political activism and the Watts riots and the Cal Berkeley crapola and the racism come to a head with Martin Luther King and all that other stuff. But a lot of us do go
You're awfully dismissive of all that stuff. I mean, that's a lot of stuff. That's the entire civil rights movement you just rejected like it was an annoyance. Like, I know, we had all this stuff go on, like, black people had to be equal, and you couldn't keep beating the gays, but, I mean, Jesus.
Pretty much protected and sheltered, and we were kept away from that stuff by our folks. I was a little kid. I wasn't watching the news about the 60s.
You're probably still...
I couldn't wait to get home and see Speed Racer and the Mach 3.
You still like that shit.
The Flintstones in Gilligan's Island.
You still like that shit.
I still get a kick out of that Sherwood Schwartz and that canned laughter. And that weird laugh that was in that and also Brady Bunch.
Well, that was an unnecessary
canned laughter. That's a whole nother video topic.
It's not canned laughter is not a video topic.
Pacific believes.
Third person, good?
That censorship is necessary. If you are censoring one for their viewpoints because they are Christian or liberal, I think you're wrong.
Christian and liberal are dichotomous.
But to censor somebody to making threats, to calling somebody the F word and everything else.
There I think he's referring to the word faggot, which if you'd seen some of his videos where he's like locked in a broom closet or a pantry somewhere with his shirt off, like a foot and a half from the camera, ranting about homosexuality, I kind of see the joke. I mean, I really do.
I think that is justifiable.
Me too.
To censor, to have YouTube take down a Christian channel because he's talking about his Christian or her Christian beliefs, I think that is wrong.
No shit. When has that been done?
To call upon threats and make doxes of somebody, sure, you got freedom.
Make doxes.
Oh, are you eating the marijuanas again? You snorting it?
Speech, but there should be a price to pay for that.
Well, you believe
and I will say something I've learned about the dox. Yeah, at first it made me nervous. Now it doesn't.
That's fucking reasonable because 95% of the time, plus, people do a dox and absolutely nothing fucking happens. It's a way to make you nervous. It doesn't usually mean anything. Sometimes someone will send you a knife with a note that says kill yourself.
So what? People know where I live? Wow.
Good about you, bro.
All that proves to me is that the person who does that will not willingly put forth a dox about himself. That ought to tell my viewers more about that clown than it does about me. God is in my life, and God has protected me, and God has me in his hand, and when it's my time to go, guess what?
Oh, we are officially in dangerous I don't care because there's an afterlife territory.
My will and everybody else's ain't going to do anything to stop it.
Well, it could.
It is appointed unto man once to die, and then the judgment, and we got to get a hold of that. Yes, we can do stupid things.
Like this? Like talk about this?
We can do stupid things, and we can end our life.
Yeah.
But if I'm speaking the truth,
I mean, I'm not
and I'm being transparent and honest, and somebody on YouTube who doesn't even know me is going to make threats and come in and end my life, hey, that's God's chariot home for me. Right?
See, that's dangerous thinking.
He will end a whole lot of my problems if he so does.
See, this is...
I don't have to worry about the drama and stress of this or that.
Uh-huh.
Don't have to worry about aging. I go home to the presence of God.
You sound suicidal.
But pity the fool that takes my life.
And now you sound like a wannabe John Wayne.
They're going to be in big trouble before the Almighty, even if the local authorities don't catch up to him or her.
Do you hear me, Pilgrim?
I've always said that Americans, as a general rule, have a very wrong understanding of freedom, and that's a safe thing to say.
I don't know if that's a safe thing to say, dude. Not at all. I think you have a very, very dystopian 1984 concept of freedom.
The people think that freedom means I can do whatever I want. I can buy a Harley and go 80 miles an hour through the neighborhood with all the baffles pulled out of my bike and make as much noise. No, it does not. There are rules and there are laws about noise, speed limits.
Hate speech.
One of the things we need to keep in mind about any internet troll, especially the ones that are dogging Michael Laidlow's girlfriend, saying nasty things about her.
I don't know anything about
that. What kind of a man is that? And let's talk about that. You got an issue with somebody and you go after their girlfriend who has nothing to do with this. She's made aware of it because that's her man, and he says, oh yeah, this guy's saying all this crap about me. When I grew up, times have changed. When I grew up, nobody commented on one's girl.
Bullshit. Bullshit. There are many media examples of people making fun of someone's girlfriend to insult them. I'm literally doing this on the fly. I haven't seen this video. I don't have any examples right now. But I can guarantee that I've seen movies from the 60s and 70s that were about that had moments in it where someone was like, hey man, your ugly ass bitch is doing this or something like that. I've seen them. It's out there.
When they had a problem with another man, they kept the girl out of it. They kept the kids out of it.
The kids, yes, they did keep out of it.
Now nothing's sacred. which proves that this guy is some young...
To be fair, the girl, from my knowledge of the situation, is also a YouTuber, so he's just attacking another YouTuber that happens to be this guy's girlfriend and parroting the same effects. It's like the people that are fucking with Anita Sarkeesian because she parrots her boyfriend's ideas. You see, it's not the person, it's the parroting of the idea.
Young fool. A lot of the trolls are youngster punksters that don't have anything to do, no job, no intelligence, and amoebas have more class than they do. Freedom of speech.
The guy in a gigantic steel necklace is talking about class. The 50-year-old man in the Kmart version of, what is it, that fucking Ed Hardy t-shirt is talking about class. Okay.
Doesn't mean just because you get away with it, you got freedom of speech. Yeah, you said what you said.
And I got.
But I've got one verse that's very convicting. It says, "Every idle word will be brought into judgment." That's from everybody, including you. It says, "There's no God." You'll be held accountable for everything you said.
That's always the line. They always make themselves feel better that way. It's that no matter what happens in this world, no matter if they're right or wrong, they don't care. They think they're right. That's all that matters, because in their thought patterns, in their belief, they believe that in the afterlife, the person who's saying that is going to burn in hell. And that is where the smugness comes from. The surety right here. The absolute surety of it.
Everything. You're going to be judged by the same commands that I am. Did you know that? The difference is I'm in Christ. And I know I don't get to heaven by my works. So I'm not getting to heaven because I followed the commands of God. I get to heaven because of the grace of God. But you are in a more precarious position than me. Because you're saying because you don't need Jesus.
So Pascal's wager to control my behavior? I guess?
Jesus, you don't believe in God. You're essentially telling God, hey, I can get to God all by myself. God's going to say, oh,
what? I was saying there's no God. I'm not saying I can get to God all by myself, you deluded twit. What are you talking about?
Really? Let's start with commandment number 1. Then we'll go right on down the line and we'll see if you measured up. Fail, epic, fail, epic, fail, epic, all the way.
Seriously, you're one of the most closeted people I've ever seen.
Down through the 10. And then God's going to judge you for everything that came out of your mouth, every intent of your heart, every wrong, pure, impure thought, everything.
No, because
and you don't have the covering of a sacrifice. Pity you, the fool.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. I refuse your creepy Judeo-Christian God's human sacrifice habit. Yeah, if that's what it takes, then him being willing to sacrifice his own son, first and foremost, and secondarily asking, well, I guess first and foremost would be the asking Abraham to sacrifice his son. Yeah, no thank you. I'll pass on that, God.
Fool who has gone that route. There are very specific laws in the U.S. about yelling bomb in an airport and fire in a theater.
Okay, no, the fire at a theater is a misquoted example given about the parameters of freedom of speech to incite mobs. You're one of those idiots that didn't actually read the report. Is
that censorship? Nobody cries censorship there, do they?
Actually, people did.
But the internet seems to be the wild, wild west, and people say, oh, they're violating my free speech.
That's because there's no mob here. There's no ability for someone to get trampled in the... I mean, we can trample your page, but you can just not read it. That's a thing.
To say F you, you're a retard with your dorky glasses?
Well, I wouldn't call you a retard.
What would you do, homeboy, if somebody came up to your...
Whoa. Why we gotta go homeboy on this? Why's it gotta be homeboy?
Grandma who you love and said, oh, look at that wrinkled old prune, look at that old windbag, ha, ha, ha. I wonder how you'd handle that freedom of speech on their part.
Well, that'd be easy. I'd think you were a lunatic attacking an old woman. I mean, that wouldn't exactly make you look good. I mean, what are you using as an example? Do you go around and yell at old ladies?
Just saying, how come the punks seem to think that free speech applies to them?
What?
But it doesn't apply to anybody critiquing them or their loved ones or their little gangster tribe.
Gangster tribe.
Funny, isn't it? Nice. Funny how it's, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander.
I've never once said you can't comment.
Gangs kill me. They always kill.
How did we end up here? Ladies and gentlemen, stop for just a moment and ask yourselves, how did we end up talking about gangs? I have no idea either.
You dissed us.
What?
But you stole my car, punky.
What?
What do you got to say about that? Well, it's okay for me to steal your car, but you dissed my friend. No.
One is a crime. One is an act of verbal exchange. They're unrelated. What are you talking about?
Don't work that way.
It doesn't. You're right. But what are you talking about?
You taking my car, I busted your face. Simple as that, right? Well, so you want to talk?
Really, if he take your car, you should probably call it the cops. Although I would prefer you didn't put that weird Italian bent on it for no apparent reason. It's just implying that Italians are violent or something? What the fuck's wrong with this guy? We've got like inherent homophobia in some of his other videos. We've got sexism just rampant through it where women are nowhere as equal as men. I don't fucking get it.
Talk about dissing. You dissing by taking my property.
That's not
Watch
dissing.
Out.
That's a crime.
The point is,
you don't have a point. Let's be honest here.
People themselves verify every day that the commands of God are true, because even a gangster, even the punks on the internet making all the trolling, if they've got a good relationship with their mother or their brother or their sister, if I were to get on there and talk about some troll and his girlfriend and say, oh, what an ugly hag, her boobs sag, and her pants look like 70s disco pants, and she looks like a frickin' freak. Oh, watch them.
I've got to guess that you don't have a lot of experience running the dozens there, buddy, because none of that was really insulting. It just made you look dated and silly. But, okay. And really super soft. I mean, really, she's a frickin' freak. Like, yeah, you're coming off a little effeminate again there, dude.
Get very, very angry.
No, because it's laughable.
You follow me?
No.
So what is the definition of freedom of speech? There are some things we don't need to say. You can think any thought you want. Well, with God's parameters on them.
Exactly, because God is a thought police person. I mean, he just is. That's what he does. He advocates for thought crime. I mean, you should not. What other thing could be said of covet? What is coveting but thinking about wanting something? And that's as far as it needs to go.
I can think, well, I don't find that girl attractive, but to go say it to her, unnecessary. Unnecessary. To disagree with somebody's channel and then make death threats over and over in a dox, unnecessary. Totally unnecessary, especially when the punkster isn't willing to put out a dox against himself and show himself. Yeah, I got a problem with that.
I agree. I would never dox somebody.
You can eat out of your own skull and pour your own cereal bowl in it, okay? Because you know what? You're headed for death.
God. Somebody said something like that to this guy, and he took it even remotely seriously. That is how insane he is. That is how big his persecution complex is, you fucking nutball.
Row all by yourself. The death row of the judgment of God. Okay. God will deal with you, and he has a time for you when it is appointed unto you to die, and then the judgment. That's right. And YouTube has become SpewTube, hasn't it? That's one of the...
Well, you are sitting here spewing nonsense, so I guess.
Side effects I've seen, the spin-offs, the fallout of the internet. Nobody knows me. F you, retard. You look like a homo in your pink Hong Kong shirt. No wonder the Chinese don't like you. If I was there, I'd push you too. I'd knock your face off. Ha, ha, ha. Say that's
really
my face.
Makes him uncomfortable.
My pink tie-dye Hong Kong shirt means that I'm a faggot? Really? Are we that stupid? It said Hong Kong. I'm living there. I cannot believe the kind of comments.
So that's what it is. He moved to the east because he prefers it. I get it now.
That proliferate on YouTube, and YouTube doesn't do anything about it. Now, before Google took them over, many people lost his whole everything. Go find him. All his videos are gone. Stuff was taken down.
Yeah, people didn't.
Lore Master pulled his own channel. And I'm going to say it again. I don't believe that the Lore Master, as I know him, the guy who was doing videos on his belly, laying on his stomach, I don't believe he's the one that made the Encyclopedia Dramatica page, but Encyclopedia Dramatica claims that satire, that is a total violation of freedom of speech. They lie and they slander. And
No,
there were things years ago that people could not libel or slander. Well, National Enquirer does it all the time. All the time. The press does it. The press in America is notorious for spin doctoring the news and fudging things and stretching things. Look at the way the American media handles the Israeli-Arab conflict. It's always the Jews. The Jews are terrible. The Jews are killing children. Really? Obviously, people are ill-informed. I would inquire to my anti-Semitic viewers out there, go read a magazine called Israel My Glory, which is...
Okay, look, I'm an advocate for Israel, but do not just refer to that magazine. Neither one of these sides is perfect in this conflict. The Palestinians do terrible, cowardly, unequal force things like use human people or use civilians as barriers, but the Israelis are a very powerful military force that has no problems with overusing that. And I refuse to take sides on that issue because these two people hate each other for stupid, archaic religious reasons.
Rated very highly as one of the most honest publications about what is going on in the Middle East. And get rid of your own biases and start looking into this problem deeper. If you're getting your news source from the Evening American News, well, you're not as literate as you would like us to believe.
Obviously.
To YouTube's credit, I don't have to be politically correct. I can say what I need to say, and that's been a good thing. What I don't like is the
people dissenting with you and being dicks about it.
Plethora of yucky, awful, just...
Okay, you're so soft, dude. Yucky? Yucky? You're 50 fucking years old. Grow up, you man-child.
Debasing comments that people make on people's channel. Shoot, you can pull up a classical music piece, a beautiful symphony, and some butt clam gets on there. And
I'm just going to let butt clam sit out there for a second. I have no idea what it means. I've never heard it before this moment in my life. I've never gotten this far in this video. Holy shit, butt clam.
Says, this is retarded. Classical music is gay. What is this? A frickin' 13-year-old that's sitting in his bedroom with nothing to do?
Yes.
Obviously doesn't know a thing about classical.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it?
No.
SpewTube is about it. People spew whatever they want to spew out there in the comment section.
But not the videos. This doesn't count?
Freedom of speech does not mean you can say whatever you want. It is not censorship. If I, as a corporate man and owned the channel of YouTube, says, you know what, your comments are racist, your comments are hateful, your comments are violent, and they're profane, I am banning you from my forum.
You see, the problem is that aside from one of those, which would be any of them that are threats, violence, if you will, not I wish I could punch you in the face, that doesn't count. I'm coming to kill you, motherfucker, is a violent threat. And if I knew where you lived, that would be a real threat. I didn't bother looking at your comments section because it's probably full of drivel. But that wasn't the point. The point is, I wouldn't advocate for that, and I don't think YouTube actually allows for that unless they're not reported frequently, because things get taken down off of here for being insightful towards violence all the time. I've had them taken down. I mean, what are you talking about?
We should have that right.
I mean, the rest of that is subjective, and any of the comments you don't like on your own YouTube page, you can delete. That's...
But I like the fact that I've opened my channel now and said, let all the losers leave their loser comments. When I say the losers, I'm not saying everybody leaves a comment as a loser.
Frankly speaking, pretty much anyone that leaves a comment in your comment section probably is, one way or the other. They're either guys trolling you because they're bored, like me. I literally have 45 minutes to kill before I go into the studio. Or B, they're, your followers, actual legitimate people that think you have something to say. Which is horrifying. I'm more scared of people that watch you unironically than people that are trolling you and inciting people to violence. Those people probably will never do anything. The people that follow you and have the same belief system, that's horrifying.
Let all the trolls come forth. Let my viewers see them for what they are. Good idea. When you don't censor, when you let things just stand, I'm already noticing a certain amount of freedom there. Legatus has been awful quiet the last couple days. That's good. Maybe he doesn't know I come back. Who knows? But Alex, thank you for the video. The Price is Wrong, thank you for your video. And in all fairness, Michelle/Ling, please send me your video. I'm waiting so that I can review it and make an honest assessment. And in our freedom of speech, let's make sure that we're talking truth.
See, that's one of those things. Like, you're talking about getting things from the Bible and using that, and I think that's a flawed book written by sand people like 2,000 years ago. So I don't understand what truth is to you. What are we talking about?
Let's make sure that we realize that freedom of speech does have some boundaries around it. That
they're very strict.
A lot of youngsters out there and a lot of people in YouTube land and on the internet, they think they can say and do whatever they want. I'm watching a lot of young people today get in trouble with the law, get in trouble with the authorities, and then they're sitting there bad-mouthing cop, effing pigs. Why are you calling the police effing pigs?
Well, I don't really support that, but you can do it if you want. I mean, they went a little far when they actually cooked a pig and ate it in front of a police station with a hat on it, and then said, "This will be you if there's nothing that I mean, that was a little rough. But I don't really support calling cops pigs. They're just guys who are in a shitty position to enforce almost unenforceable amounts of laws. I mean, truth be told. But no, the people that are being arrested are people that are actually like saying, "Hey, let's go kill cops," or "Hey, let's go kill all the white people," or yeah, those people are getting arrested because they have broken a law. You see, we've already established that. But saying, "Hey, fuck you, you have goofy hair and you're a faggot," it's not ever going to be against the law.
Didn't do anything. Well, I hate cops. You hate cops because you got in trouble because you blew it. We live in an age where people just don't take personal accountability, and that's too bad. It's not that hard to do, so yep, I screwed up. But instead, we want to find the specks in the other person. Look at the.
This from the guy that claimed that he curses and uses poor language and uses dirty jokes in spite of what the Bible says, you know, but because society lets it happen, it's not his fault personally.
Case in American justice, I wasn't read my Miranda rights. You've got to be kidding me.
If he's in Hong Kong, as he's led us to believe, which I'm not sure he still is, or if he was referring to having had lived in Hong Kong in the past, either stay there or go back. The Miranda rights are fucking important, you moron.
So that person gets off. Wow.
Wow, in fucking deed.
You know, it's funny. Today's society, is taking on everything. Today's young people are taking on everything. And God is only going to endure this so much because in the Bible talks about youngsters cursing their mother and father were to be stoned. And as I said this morning, that would be harsh to do that today, but the principle of respect still stands, and these people that don't repent of their deeds and don't know Jesus, they're going to, and I believe this, that depending on how one person lived their life on this earth, if they don't trust Christ, there will be varying degrees of weeping and gnashing of teeth and torment. The torment.
Look, as the old gag goes, I don't mind Christ. He was a cool, kind of hippie, chill dude. The followers are creeps. You included.
It will be bad for everybody who goes to hell. But for those that cursed and badmouthed authority, the Adolf Hitlers of the world, I think...
What? The people that cursed and badmouthed authority, the Adolf Hitlers of the world. Do you hear yourself? He was the authority.
They're going to have an extra heaping measure of pain and suffering.
How does one measure that if one was already intent to suffer innumerable suffering in hell? It's infinite suffering for infinity. according to your own. So how does one heap more suffering onto infinite suffering for infinity? It just.
The bottom line is all I can tell my viewers, whether you believe or not, you don't want to go to hell. Because all the things you think that are bad now is only going to be amplified beyond degree the minute you spend 1 second in that place.
Again, so
hell's
how
a real
does one
place.
make that worse?
And we need to be very careful. And we need to be very careful about
fearful man.
The stuff that we're doing online and offline. Just because nobody physically knows who you are doesn't mean you can spew off your mouth, Christian and non-Christian. There are some things that will land you in a jail cell. There are some things that will land you in trouble with the FBI.
Yes, threatening people.
Or the local police.
I just
people,
so I'm fine.
I always try to tell myself, and it's hard to do because I'm emotional, I'm human too. Let people be arrogant. Let people keep saying stuff, doing stuff, saying. Let their pride get bigger and bigger. The Bible says
this man is arrogant, prideful, and he is saying and doing stuff. So, you know.
Pride goeth before a fall, and the day will come when the fly swatter of God will come down and go, psh, and their little reign of whatever they think they're doing comes to a crashing end.
Why? Why do these people always want the end times? It's so bizarre.
Freedom of speech. When we say we're free in America, we're limited in freedom. And we should be.
Let's not make it any worse.
That freedom ultimately, Pacifics believe that freedom ultimately comes from having a proper relationship with Jesus Christ, knowing and believing the truth of His Word gives us freedom that even our Constitution doesn't give us.
No.
That if you don't believe that, you're in chains, you're in bondage, and you're not free.
You, sir, are projecting. You're the one who is in bondage to a sky daddy.
Slave to an ideology, belief system that has you in darkness. So, that being said, it's hot out here, and I'm going to go inside, but that's my view on freedom of speech. It does not give you the right to say whatever you want, because even gangs don't believe that. If I walked into the middle of a...
Why? What is his obsession with gangs? Are they just his worst case scenario? I mean, there is fucking worse out there, dude. There's actually most of the worst out there are other people that don't believe in freedom of speech. I'd say the big gang, ISIS maybe? Another religious group. Huh. Another religious person that wants to isolate freedom of speech. Interesting.
Bunch of gangs in LA that were calling me white boy honky, blah, 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 and mouthing off, and look at you, dork. And I were to say things to them, they would shoot and kill me if my comments inflamed them. So they don't believe in unrelenting freedom of speech for all. The law itself that God has set into place does not go for that. You don't walk up to some woman on the street and said, wow, you look like a real cunt. You know,
he spells things seriously like a child. He still does that shit. The word's cunt, sir. It was invented by Shakespeare. Have some fucking respect.
Don't do those things. You just...
Well, you do if she's being a cunt. I mean, obviously. We're talking about equality here. If a man was acting like a cunt, I'd walk up and say, hey man, stop being such a cunt. So if a woman's acting like a cunt and we want equality of the sexes, and I know for a fact that if I were behaving like a dick, that she would walk up and call me a dick, why would I not walk up and call her a cunt? No?
Don't do those things. So freedom of speech is not accurate. We do have freedom of thought, but we'll be judged for the thoughts and intents of the heart, especially when those thoughts and intents of the heart are very contrary to God's laws. And that goes for all of us. Even some of the most righteous behaving men and women I know, they're going to be judged for the thoughts and intents of their heart and the things that have floated through their heads.
My worry with these people is, what goes through their heads that is so deplorable they feel the need to be judged for it? I mean, mostly I absorb comedy. I mean, that's kind of my thing. I like humor. I like laughing. I don't try and think really awful things. Like, this is seriously why I think he's a repressed homosexual. I mean, it's like I can't think of men. God wouldn't have.
All going to be guilty there.
Uh-huh.
But no, freedom of speech does not mean you can run your mouth
It does.
non-stop and say whatever you want. There will be a day of reckoning. There will be a day of accountability.
But those two things are unrelated. My freedom of speech is not affected by your belief in a sky daddy and an imminent eschaton. That's your problem. You believe the eschaton shall be arriving sometime soon. I, however, will continue to live by secular law.
Even though you get away with it on the internet, for 30 years, God is recording every single idle word that came out of your pie hole, and you'll be...
My hard drive is recording every idle word that comes out of my pie hole. I'm not scared of it.
held accountable for it. That's a fact.
It's not a fact.
Everybody...
It's an assertion, but it's not a fact.
Around the world, dead and or alive, and yet to be, is going to be held accountable for their sins.
How do you reconcile that in your brain?
And if they're not in Jesus Christ, as Ricky says to Lucy, they'll have some splaining to do, but none of that splaining is going to get them a free pass with God. God's going to say, depart from me, I never knew you. Yes.
You are just condemning people left and right. That's kind of your thing.
There is no such thing as freedom of speech. There is such a...
There is. It just doesn't conform with your bizarre sky daddy beliefs, so you reject them.
The thing is, we have the freedom to make wise choices and unwise choices, but you do not have the right...
Again, you're misunderstanding. I do indeed have the right
to say whatever you want. You have the freedom
They're both
to say whatever you want, or the choice, I should say.
Uh-huh.
But you will be held accountable for those things that you ought not say. Just keep that in mind. I will be reined in by the almighty... Hey, spider, go build your web somewhere else. I will be reined in by the almighty God for things that I shouldn't have said either.
I'm sure.
So this isn't just me being self-righteous to some trolls, that I'm constantly aware that my speech is not always edifying.
So then why do you
to
make
God?
it? How can you
Certainly not my language. I cuss like a sailor sometimes. But making threats, making up lies, and slandering people, it's not good.
Uh-huh.
We all can take some satire and some ribbing and some ha-ha-ha funny. They do it to political figures all the time, exaggerate their face in the political cartoons, and it's like, hee-hee-hee.
So the more popular you get,
but
the more likely this is to occur.
To dox, to threaten, that is not freedom of speech.
I'm with V on this one. I can't stand when people say that it's in his words, how did he put it? You see, we had the big book before. It was called the Yellow Pages, you see? And it was the biggest doxing ever. And no one seemed to have a problem with it. No one got harassed, no women got attacked, you see? He's fine. You see that used to exist. No one cares. It still exists in many areas where we've become such a paranoid society that you think someone's going to come get you just because your information's online. They're toying with you.
That gets into ethical issues, integrity issues, defamation of character, libel, slander.
Only if it's political.
Painting a picture.
Well, no. If I collect information and I'm capable of painting a picture of you being a fucking completely ridiculous sexist, then that's you painting the picture and me simply choosing the canvases. I mean, it's you did that. You did that. You painted this picture, sir.
I'm sure if I were to take my trolls, find their name and address, and find their photos, and post a thing on the internet saying, yep, this guy repeatedly molests his 3-year-old sister, I don't think they would like that posted out there.
Okay, that's actual slander. I mean, that's... If you have that person, you could actually have contact with the authorities and deal with that.
Even though they know I did not do that to my sister. But it's okay for them to post stuff like that about me and zillions of others on the internet.
Citation.
I found out that dox is nothing new.
No.
Just in the last 2 weeks, it's been communicated to me that there's quite a few YouTube channels way bigger than mine that they've been doxxed, they've been threatened, and it goes on and on and on and on. And they're still alive and still talking.
Yeah,
and this is the sport of the days, to get on the internet, dox somebody, and make it seem like you've got this upper hand bit of knowledge on them to make them kowtow to fear. And Pacific has said,
why are you bringing it up?
No way.
Congratulations, I applaud your fucking courage. Jesus Christ.
Because God has set me free, and I'm not going to be placed in your chains.
Ugh, such a weird way to put that.
There are some real wingnuts on the internet.
No irony to that statement at all. No fucking irony to that.
Bipolar, schizophrenic,
people
on meds. Now, let me qualify. There are some people on meds that are upstanding, good, intellectual, articulate, thinking individuals that don't behave like this.
Like yourself?
There are others that need meds because if they get off the meds, they resort to this kind of behavior. And if they were to come to my address, they'd probably put an axe through me. There's every...
Whoa, man. Whoa. That is a very, very small percentage of the mentally ill. You're being a bit of a dick.
Everybody's on the internet. There's no license. The sad thing is that the internet does attract a ghetto culture.
Okay, we're back to this again. Holy shit, this man is a rampant racist. I don't think he ever says black. But that in itself is how I know he's a racist. Guys who grew up around black dudes say black dude. Guys that grew up around black culture aren't afraid to talk about black culture or black people. He won't say it. He says gangs and thugs and ghetto culture. Whoa, man.
I can point to all these troubled teens, troubled kids. They're all over the internet. Because this is what's emboldening them. They can talk tough to their parents. They can talk tough to their teacher, their bus drivers, the police. And where are they getting all that from? The media culture.
The media culture.
Listen to the kids and the way they're arguing and yelling at their parents today. Where are they getting this sudden burst of... It's all coming from this subculture out here. No, we don't have the freedom to say whatever we want without accountability. That you may get away with it for a time, but the day will come when you will not, and you'll be held accountable for it. And God is not going to take your side when you're crossing lines.
Again.
This is Pacific, signing off.
It is indeed.
Stay tuned to the Star of Asia. Bye-bye.
Okay, well that was enough of that nutbag. I figured that would be fun and light because he's a joke. He calls himself Pacific and constantly refers to himself in the third person. I mean, where else do you get that?